What's up, guys? Sorry I haven't made a video in a while. We were getting ready for Warped Tour. We went to Warped Tour for the first time yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
And let me tell you, a bunch of shit went down. We saw some of the badass bands. We saw Falling Reverse, Sleeping with Sirens, We the Kings. We saw American Authors, Sum 41. There was so much amazing bands out there. I actually got the chance to meet one of the, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I got the chance to meet Charles from We the Kings, who was so sweet, so nice, so down to earth. He actually signed, I got the latest edition of the AP magazine for Advanced Warped Tour. He signed right there on it. And he also signed my hat. You can't really see it very well, but he signed my Batman hat yesterday. We met Kellen and Nick from Sleeping with Sirens. We're doing this kind of like meet and greet thing. Kellen personally handed me a towel they wet the towels and, you know, got them wet so we wouldn't be too hot. I got really sunburned. My face is all sunburned. My neck is sunburned. My shoulders are just like, we're lobsters right now, so. Kellen Quinn personally handed me a towel. I got to hug Kellen. I got to hug Nick. We got to hang out with them for about 45 minutes. Kellen said he loved me. He literally told me he loved me. I got to meet all of Sleeping with Sirens. As they passed by, they had just gotten off stage and they walked by, and Jack said hi to me, Gabe said hi to me, Justin said hi to me. So I got to meet with them for a little bit. We also got a cool Vans Warped Tour bottle that has all the dates on the back of everything.
Pretty badass.
If you've never been to Warped Tour, I highly suggest that you go. It's every summer. This year was our first year. I wanted to go for a while now, but we haven't got to get a chance because it was a lot of money. It's expensive. But if you haven't been to Warped Tour, I highly encourage you to go. It is badass. Jeffree Star was there. They were selling his cosmetics. I didn't get to meet him, but I did get a picture of him. And there was a whole bunch of different bands there.
A whole bunch of stuff.
I actually got this Falling Reverse shirt from the Falling Reverse stand.
A bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. When Falling Reverse was the last band to perform, and Ronnie actually looked at me and pointed at me and he said hi to me. It was really badass. It's a fun event. Make sure you bring sunscreen because it does get really hot, and do bring a lot of water.
Bring sunscreen because
if you've never been, but we got a whole bunch of, they were giving out like a whole bunch of little like kind of like interesting things for the bands. Fearless Records gave out a little kind of booklet little thing for Warped Tour.
A whole bunch of bands gave a bunch of albums out.
A lot of the times when you go and you're waiting in line, some up and coming bands will come and they'll give you some of their CDs. So we got a few CDs from some up and coming bands. This was one of them. We got cute little stickers as well.
And if you guys want to get in a little early, bring cans.
Yes, Vans Warped Tour does have this thing where you can get in early. You get in about 30 minutes early. And all you have to do is donate some cans to Feed the Children Foundation. That's all you have to do. Just bring a whole thing of them. There's not a set limit on how much you can bring. We brought, I think, about 5 or 6 cans. And so we got the early entry pass.
Get you in about 30 minutes early.
Right here.
It's worth it.
It is so worth it. They were giving out like Journey's Warped Tour bracelets. But it was just over and all an awesome experience. I want to thank all the bands that made Warped Tour just the best experience that it could possibly be. Shout out to Kellen Quinn and Nick
and Travis
and Travis
and Charles and
shout
Coley,
out to the guys at Sleeping with Sirens. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of Warped Tour and get to see you guys live and get to meet some of you guys. Definitely some bands you should check out on Warped Tour. If they're coming to your area, you can go to the Vans website to see all the tour dates and see the times. Some bands I would recommend checking out, definitely Sum 41. That was a pretty badass band. Falling Reverse, Sleeping with Sirens, American Authors, who unfortunately Yesterday was their last day on the Vans Warped Tour. Hopefully they'll be back next year, but if they are back next year,
go see them.
Definitely go see them. The lead singer actually held my hand and sang to me and kissed my hand, which was so badass. Some more bands I would recommend seeing, definitely We the Kings, Motionless in White. That's a good band that's on tour this year. They have tons and tons of tents where you can they have food, water,
tents where you can cool down at.
Yeah, they have tents where you can just sit under and get cooled off at. I will say Vans Warped Tour, it is a bit pricey. Some of the food and drinks are a bit pricey, so bring as much money as you can to the tour if you go. To everyone who's going on the future dates of Warped Tour, I hope you have a badass time. I hope you get to meet all your favorite bands and see some cool live performances. I hope you get as much as signings as you can. Jeffree Star is there. If you're a fan of Jeffree Star and you watch his videos, he is at the Vans Warped Tour this year. He is doing meet and greets. They are selling his cosmetics. He's a really sweet dude. He's really chill. What else? What are other something? I would say be very careful at Vans Warped Tour. It does get very, very hot.
Please stay hydrated.
So please, we urge you to stay hydrated. Drink tons and tons of water. There were I did see a lot of people that were that were passing out that did have to go to the first aid kit. Yeah. So please drink lots of water. It gets really, really hot out there. Some other things. What are some other things to do at Warped Tour? You can make new friends. I made a new friend at Warped Tour when we were meeting Kellen and Nick. I got one person's number. He was saying, you know, if you're having any problems or you need to talk to someone, get someone's number around here. And a girl asked me for my number and I gave it to her. She was this really sweet girl. So shout out to all the bands that played. You guys had badass performances. I hope you have a badass time on the rest of Vans Warped Tour. It's so cool that these bands who actually went to Warped Tour growing up and seeing their favorite bands, that now they're taking the stage. I believe there's 3 different stages. There was Left Foot stage, Right Foot stage, and there was a couple other stages. Each band has a specific, if you haven't been to Warped Tour, each band has a specific time for signings, for meet and greets, and for performances. So if you do go to Warped Tour, keep an eye on their Twitters.
Yeah,
that's
Twitters,
where,
they hand out schedules.
They do hand out schedules, but the schedules can get kind of confusing.
Yeah.
For signings, watch the Twitter, watch their Twitters. They'll be posting updates of when they're signing, when they're meeting, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
To anyone who's planning on meeting their favorite bands, I will say
it's awesome.
It is so badass. All the bands they're really, really nice, really sweet, really down to earth people. It's definitely hard to contain yourself when you're in front of your idol. When I met Kellen Quinn, I literally cried for almost an hour. Shout out to Kellen Quinn. Thank you so much for your amazing advice. Thank you for taking my letter.
Thank you for looking out for me, man.
And he had actually thrown up because he got really dehydrated, and it just happened to be at the time that we met Kellen and Nick. So Kellen and Nick, thank you so much for making sure he's okay.
Yeah, thank you,
they
man.
genuinely were concerned. All the bands that play generally are concerned about the fans.
Yeah, because they
and all of them,
passing out in the middle of the
no
show.
matter who it is, any band you talk to at Warped Tour, the first advice they will give you is drink lots of water.
Lots of water.
A lot of people have asked me how many songs are they allowed to play. They're only allowed to play about 6 or 7 songs.
Yeah, or 5.
They
5 to 6,
can't.
7
Yeah,
songs.
5 to 7 songs. Usually it's about 5 or 6. They only have a limited amount of songs that they play, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
it's not like each band is up there for an hour. They're up there for about 45 minutes. They're up there for about 45 minutes. It definitely does get crowded.
Yeah.
You know, when you go and see a band, it does get very, very crowded, and it does get very hot. When I was I went to see Falling in Reverse, I was like up front and everybody was like squishing and pat because everybody was trying to get to the front.
Yeah. So if you really want to see a band and you really want to get to the front,
yeah,
get there early.
Get there like really early, like be the first person in the front if you want to be in the front row.
Yeah.
So the band Sum 41, they were pulling some people on stage. I don't know if they'll do that all tour, but I know they did it yesterday, so that was pretty cool.
And not all the bands do that. I think it's just them.
Yeah, they were the only band that did that yesterday. There wasn't another band that did it. So if you're, you know, if you're wanting to meet your favorite bands, especially like Sleeping with Sirens or Falling in Reverse, the best place to do it is this summer.
Yeah, this summer.
On the band's Warped Tour. If you haven't been, I urge you so much to go. It is a lot of fun. It does get really hot, but it is so worth it.
And it is pricey, but
it is pricey, but let me tell you, I promise you, it is worth the money you spend. Yeah. It is worth being out in the heat. Warped Tour was definitely way more than I expected. I did not expect it to be as fun as it was.
She flipped out.
Now a lot of people were asking me, oh, well, how much time do you get to spend to meet the bands? You don't really get a lot of time because the lines get so long.
Yeah.
So anything you want to say to them, you kind of have to do it really, really quick because you only get about 5 to 6 minutes to actually be in that moment.
And they do walk around.
You walk around a lot.
Yeah.
So
plus all the bands, they do walk around a lot.
There are some band members.
Like, they're finished. Oh, they go back to their tour
There
bus
are some band members that will, you know, kind of walk around and go in and meet fans. I know Sleeping with Sirens, when they came off stage, they walked out and they said hi to some fans. We're kind of chilling with some fans for a little bit before they went to their tour bus. There were some fans at Vans Warped Tour yesterday that were trying to sneak over to the other side because their tour buses are actually on the other side. They were trying to sneak over to the other side and get into one of the band's tour buses. They got kicked out of Warped Tour, so I know you want to meet your favorite bands. I know you're really, really excited. But
just don't be that desperate.
I highly recommend you not do that because then you will get kicked out and you might not get to see your other favorite bands. If you do plan on going to a meet and greet, sit at the tent like an hour or two before they do the meet and greet.
Get there early so you can be like one of the first.
Yeah, because I wanted to meet Falling Reverse, but unfortunately the line was too long, and they were no longer taking any more people, which is also why I didn't get to meet Jeffree Star. So if you do want to meet your favorite bands, if your favorite band just happens to be signing, not all the bands sign. Only certain, and
bands.
Sometimes it's just like one member of the band.
With Charles.
We the Kings, the only member of the band that signed was Charles. It wasn't the entire group.
But Charles always does.
So if you want to meet your favorite bands and do a meet and greet and get signings, I suggest you get to their tent about an hour to 2 hours early.
That's what we did when we met
so
Charles.
that you can have a definite spot to meet them. You do only get a limited amount of time, so I would take that time. You know, cherish that time while you have it.
Cherish that time when you have it.
Because you only have just a couple of minutes. You really don't have that long, which kind of sucks. Don't get in the mosh pits.
Try not to. It's hard. But
yeah, but some of the rules at Warped Tour are don't do mosh pits, don't crowd surf. Yeah, there were people crowd surfing. But the reason why they do that is because if you get hurt, they could possibly get sued, and then if they get sued, they will no longer do Warped Tour at all anymore, and that's no fun. Like everyone wants to go and enjoy Warped Tour.
If you're one of those people who crowd surf, you will the people.
You might get dropped because a lot of people got dropped on yesterday.
Plus, you will get pulled from the crowd, and you have to go
all the way around. Yeah. There was one guy who actually went crowd surfing and he got dropped and busted his head and his entire arm on the sidewalk yesterday, which is why they urge you not to do that. I know you want to get close to the stage, but it's not worth it.
How many people after Falling in Reverse?
Ronnie Radke.
Yeah. How many people? Ronnie told everybody to crowd surf.
Yeah, and he get Ronnie Radke. If you haven't seen Falling in Reverse, he definitely gets very hyped and wired on stage.
So I was watching that.
And he'll definitely ask you to do some crazy ass shit Just do it. It's nothing
They told him
dangerous.
about-
It's
told
just it's
everybody
out of
crowd
fun.
surf, but,
It's
so many
nothing
people crowd
dangerous.
surfing.
But he does have you do some crazy ass shit in the crowd.
It's pretty crazy.
It's definitely crazy and it's definitely crowded. If you're someone that's claustrophobic, I wouldn't recommend going to Warped Tour just because of the fact that it is really crowded.
I am, but
especially when
I
you
dealt
go
with it.
to see a performance, it gets really, really crowded. So if you're
That's why I had to step
kind of
out
claustrophobic,
before
I
falling
recommend
first.
you don't go
That's why I had to step out.
unless you can control it well enough to be.
I was controlling it for most of the part, but toward the end I almost had a panic attack. So.
What else? What are some other things for Warped Tour? They do let you bring a bag in.
Yeah.
They do check it, but you can bring water bottles in. You can bring cameras in. You can bring a fully charged cell phone.
Yeah, bring it. Make sure your
because
cell phone
there
is
are no
fully
charging
charged.
points. So make
Fully
sure it
charged.
is fully charged. I would recommend not using it until you get to Warped Tour. So that you
use
have a
it-
fully charged battery
use it
for
for
when
your
you're
favorite
meeting all the
bands.
bands and everything. What else? There's just so much things that happen at Warped Tour. Trying to think. I don't want to leave anything out and y'all like go and get surprised by something.
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
I don't know. You pretty much explained everything.
Yeah, if you are a fan of Sleeping with Sirens and you want to meet Kellen and Nick this year, we were outside waiting. All we had to do was a lady came up and she was like, all you need to do is pay $25, give me your first name, last name, and your address, and you will be on the list to do so.
Yeah.
They are working with a group, and if you go on their I believe it's Kellen's Instagram page. It's either Kellen's or the Sleeping with Sirens band Instagram page. He has some of the information on how to do that. That's where I got it from.
Yeah.
What else? But other than that, I cannot urge you enough. Please stay safe. Be careful. Definitely use your money wisely because most of my money went to this t-shirt.
Yeah.
Keep hydrated. Drink lots and lots of water. Don't drink the lemonade. Their lemonade is crap.
Yeah.
Their lemonade was gross. I would not recommend drinking lemonade. I would mainly just drink a lot of water. Lots and lots of water. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's something else that I'm missing.
What?
So Kellen and Nick, the thing I was talking about, something like Kellen and Nick, it's called Save Me a Spark. If you follow TEI on Instagram, that will give you information. That will give you information on how to do it. What's another band?
And if you want to meet Travis from the Kings, he's
Oh!
also doing